Hi, I'm Marta Catalinas. I am a pediatrician and I'm talking to you like always from Round Rock, Texas. I am here with my friends, with Fer and Veronica, and today we're going to talk about behavior, discipline. I know parents are having a hard time, especially now during COVID. We spend so much time at home with toddlers, with kids of different ages. It's very difficult. I think we all learned these months to appreciate teachers, the great job they do, how much we need them, how it takes some knowledge to get kids to understand and to follow directions. And so we're going to talk about all that, and hopefully if we can give a couple of advices that can help families, I will be happy with that. So hello, ladies, how are you?
Hi, Marta. How are you? How are you today? Hi, Vero. I'm Fer Candil. I'm a chef and I have a catering business with Spanish food. I'm a mother of 5, not toddlers or babies. I'm glad they are adults, all of them. And I'm in charge to bring you a recipe. And I know we are going to talk about behaves and discipline and sometimes punishment or consequences for the kids. They need to know what are the boundaries in life. If we, as a parents, we don't show them there are boundaries in life, the people of the life is going to show them more cruelty than we can do. But I bring today a treat. We just passed Halloween with a trick or treat, and I bring a treat because I think we have to treat them when they do the right thing or good things. And it's a little dessert. It's like a natilla, almond natilla. So it's like a creme brulee texture, but it's made just with almonds. So it's gonna be very tasty, but you have to wait until the end and hear about our advice and our comments, and we hope it's gonna help you. And I want to introduce Vero. Hi, Veronica. How are you today?
Hi, Fer. Hi, Marta. Oh my goodness, that recipe sounds awesome. Really good. Anytime when I hear creme brulee, I'm just in for any kind of natilla or cream or whatever. And I'm sure my kids are gonna love that. So, hello, ladies. I'm glad to be back. Today's topic is really interesting. Sometimes parents find themselves resourceless when disciplining kids of different ages, especially when it's toddlers, because we don't really know to which extent they understand our words. In my case, for example, Marta, the first thing that I would like to ask you is, since we've been spending way more time in the house, Julia sometimes has been hitting her sister with toys or sticks or anything, basically anything that she finds around the house seems to be like to serve her as a weapon to hit someone. So I'm trying to make her understand that no hitting and no biting should happen in this house. And sometimes I don't really know what to do. Like, does she understand my words? Is it better to do some quiet time or some time out? What do you advise me to do in this case?
Yeah, Julia is 18 months, right?
Yes.
So that's a difficult age. She's learning, she's able to do things that a few months ago she couldn't even do. Now she can talk, communicate, she tries to climb and touch, and they're fearless. I mean, you cannot tell them, hey, don't do this because look, you can hurt somebody, or don't walk through the door and go to the street, or they don't understand that. So that's why it's so difficult to take care of a toddler, because they require 100% attention all the time. And just because they are learning, and they are using that experience and the consequences of their actions, they're observing you. They're watching what she does, what your reaction is at what she's doing. Toddlers do a lot of things for attention. Attention is a big thing when you're a toddler. They are very self-centered. You cannot make them think about others much. They're me, me, me. And so, especially kids with siblings, like Julia, she's going to do whatever to call your attention, especially if you are taking care of another child, or you're on the phone, or you're talking to your husband, or you're trying to watch a television program. Those are the moments when, hey, I want your attention. The best way to eliminate a behavior that you don't like at this age, believe it or not, is ignoring it. And a good example is the biting. Daycares have a hard time, which is always somebody who bites. And the other kids learn from that one, because the other kids learn all the attention that this child is getting from biting. And it starts with something very innocent. When you're a toddler and for months that you have been given teething toys, things to put in your mouth, and you're biting it, and everybody thinks it's so funny and so good, you're doing the right thing. And all of a sudden now you cannot bite. And so it's true that, it takes them a while to realize, okay, biting, yes, but not biting people. It does take them a while. But if biting somebody is going to bring attention, you can believe that they're going to repeat that action. And that's why they imitate in daycare. They imitate each other. It is difficult for you to ignore if Julia goes and bites another kid when the other mother is right there in front of you expecting you to react. So it's very difficult to just turn around and ignore it. At that point, you may have to say something. But in reality, when you're at home and she's biting you, if you just take her away from you, give her no attention for a minute or two, and don't say anything, that will eliminate the behavior more than a lecture or why this hurts and that doesn't. So just taking the emotional part out of it, of the action, and taking the attention away from them. That's why time out works. Sometimes we can explain a little more about that. I don't know what is your experience with time out. Veronica, do you use time out with your kids?
I actually do use it. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong. This is possibly another thing that I would like you to clarify, but I've heard that timeout should be used considering the age of the kid. So for example, if you have an 18-month-old, you do 1 minute of timeout. If you have a 2-year-old, you do 2 minutes of timeout, and consequently, okay? For example, for my 5-year-old, I should do 5 minutes of timeout. Is that okay?
Yes,
okay.
That's a very good rule of thumb.
So
yes.
I'm using it, but for example, each of my kids react in one way. Violeta, she kind of just goes with it. She knows she hasn't been behaving properly and that there's consequences, and she will just like stay quietly wherever she's asked to be. But for example, Alvaro, he throws such like huge fits. He will just scream and drive me crazy, and the level of, and my nerves will start like just going wild, because I'm like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Why it's not working? Why is he yelling and being so loud? Why can't he just stick to this consequence? And with him, everything seems to be a little harder. Julia also, she knows, like sometimes when I say, no, you can't do that, she herself goes to one corner and she will sit down. She'll be like kind of sad, and then when she'll go back. Alvaro, he's hard for doing timeout. He just,
it's true that different personalities, different ages, they react differently. But the universal, more general type of timeout is, you sit there in a corner looking at the wall or looking at everybody else. It doesn't matter, but you just sit kind of like isolated there for about a minute per year of age. That's a good thing. But what you have to wonder is, you have to question yourself, is it working? So we know that any timeout means that you are stopping the activity. Whatever was happening is not happening any longer. And so they were having fun with a toy, if they were having fun with you, if they were having fun with their friends, and now they do something that you don't want them to do, then that activity stops. And then they have to go and not play with that toy or with that person. We know it works when it keeps them from doing it again. So some kids are so smart and Alvaro probably falls into this category. You say, okay, time out, you sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, don't come here and stay there. And some kids go and they cry and they make you believe that they are suffering so much from this, just sitting there for 3 minutes that doesn't hurt anybody. And so they make you believe that the punishment is working when in reality it's not. They can care less about being sitting there for just 3 minutes. They turn around, and when the situation, the opportunity comes back, they behave the same way. Then you know they are fooling you. They are making you believe that the timeout works when it really doesn't. And so for that person, for that child, maybe the timeout can be different. Maybe if they are watching TV, there's always a turn it off. Sorry, now you cannot watch that. Or a toy they are playing with, you cannot play with that toy. The consequences, whatever it is, have to be immediate. And the typical thing is you take them to the park, they are misbehaving, they are fighting with each other, and you start saying, okay, if you keep doing that, I'm not going to take you to the movies this weekend, okay? When we get home, you're not going to have dessert. I'm telling you, you're not going to. It doesn't work at all. The consequences, they don't have that sense of timing or the tomorrow or later. The consequences have to happen as close to the offense as possible for it to work. So in that situation, what you do is you pick up everybody, okay, we are not behaving, sorry, and we all go home. Everybody goes home. And sometimes when you have several kids, you cannot punish the others, yes, and sometimes you punish yourself because maybe you were having a good time there, but that's the way it works the best, when the consequences are right there when the offense is happening.
Yeah, that's true, Marta. One thing I learned when my kids were toddlers or littles is like always the punishment has to be small, immediately, and something I'm ready to achieve it, like not to forgive or something. So if I say you are not gonna watch TV today, you are not gonna watch TV today, and I have, because if not, your authority or the respect of your word is going to go less value, and the kids start taking advantage on you all the time, and it's growing up as much as they growing up too. So be careful, because you are not gonna doing any favor to the kids when you say yes to everything or forgive any punishment or any timeout. I think they need to know their boundaries.
Yeah, and they have to learn that, yes, from the parents. Bad behaviors tend to spread. So they start with something and they know they can get away with it because sometimes even the parents are not in the same page. They don't agree about the punishment or about what should happen. And they learn that right away and they take advantage of it. So it should be very clear. I mean, if there is always going to be a margin of permissiveness. I mean, you have kids are kids and they're going to do things. And you cannot pretend them to behave like an adult or be perfect. But there are certain behaviors that we all know that they're getting to our nerves. And sometimes that's a good enough reason to say, no, this needs to stop. Some behaviors that may be dangerous, unpleasant. I mean, whatever you, the adult, the parent, decide that needs to stop is a good enough reason for you to try one thing at a time. If you're trying to now start disciplining when before you were more permissive, you are going to have to start with one behavior at a time. You're going to have to break it down into, but be consistent. Like you say, you have to be consistent. Sometimes with older kids, you have to even make a list. Okay, if you put in the refrigerator, if you do this is the consequence, and always apply that consequence. There is always something that we have control over. You know, I always tell parents not to start battles that they're not going to win. When you go into an argument, you have to know that you're going to win that argument. Otherwise, there's going to be a problem. And so even things as simple as, I don't know, the typical eating, he doesn't want to eat, he sits down, he doesn't want to eat, and takes 2 bites and that's it, and then he's asking for food and blah blah blah, and so the response to that from different members of the family is, okay, offering food later, and I tell the child, I say, well, good, you don't want to eat. You don't want to. Very good. Your family saves money. Look at that. Look at all the money you're going to save, and you're growing. On top of that, look, you're growing perfectly. So, mom, dad, if he doesn't want to eat, we're not going to feed him. And the child looks at me like with these big open eyes, like, wait a minute, that's not what is happening. Every time I refused to eat, everybody was around me. I was getting attention. Grandma was calling, and so it's just sometimes taking the emotional part of it. Does work.
Yeah. And one thing is when the parents has to be worried about the aggressivity there in some kids, because we always ashame the movies, the TV, even the cartoons, because they have today a lot of violence, more aggressivity than when we were kids. I think there is a lot of violence and aggressivity on the cartoons, even the movies for kids. Everything is about fighting or something like that. But when parents with toddlers or young kids has to be worried about the kids who behave aggressivity, especially at home, sometimes they don't behave like that at the school. What can you tell us about that? Or if you have any experience, or Vero perhaps can say something too.
Yeah, well, there is a common question, yes, that the parents bring to me. Like when a child has an aggressive behavior, is hitting, is getting in trouble often at home, they don't know how to react. Some parents say, it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't seem to work. Nothing works. There is always that fear that, okay, do I need to see a psychologist? Do I need to take him to a psychiatrist? Is this a medical condition, a brain condition, something that requires some other type of treatment? And the first question that I ask is this is a kid who goes to school. The first question is this behavior happening mainly only at home, or it translates also into school, like hitting the teacher, hitting the other kids, getting into trouble? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no, it's just at home that we have problems. At school, he's a saint. The teacher says that he listens, and well, this child is just not behaving at home because he's allowed to. And look how smart he is at school. He wants to impress the teacher. Nobody wants to give a bad impression on the teacher. Wants to impress the other kids, wants to be on the right side of things, wants to have friends, wants the friends to be accepting him. So he's smart enough to separate and know that over here, I cannot do this behavior, but at home, I can. So then is when we have to start talking about from the beginning, what is discipline like, what are rules like, are they consistent? If we have the typical timeout is, sit in the corner, cry for 10 minutes, and then you come back and do it again. Some parents don't realize that. And the example I give them is that, and somebody gave me this example a long time ago. If you are driving down the highway and you're speeding and the police stops you and gives you a lecture on how your behavior is irresponsible, it's dangerous, you cannot do that again, you're a bad girl, don't do it again unless you go. If given the opportunity or the circumstances, maybe it's just distraction, you're in a nice open highway and you start speeding again, you're more likely to do it again if the consequences was just a lecture from the policeman. Now, if they give you a ticket for $300 and you will think about it, because you're going to be thinking about those $300 for a while. So we all act and react depending on the consequences of our acts. So that's what we have to keep in mind. If the timeout that we are given is the lecture, is the policeman telling us, bad girl, don't do it again, it's not going to work. And if it's not going to work, then you have to revisit what it is that you are doing as a punishment. Usually taking away privileges works great. And now that kids have so many toys, so many electronics, so many things, it worked well. That you're not going to have your telephone tonight, or you're not going to have movies today, or you cannot watch your shows today. And there's always something you can take away, and that works better. Even if they are telling you, I don't care. Okay, fine, better, you don't care, well, good. We parents know, we know exactly what our kids value and what really hurts them from an emotional point more than a physical one. And
That's
that's probably also we talked in the past about, spanking. Why doesn't spanking work? Well, because the level of spanking you will have to do to make a point will be probably illegal and immoral, and you wouldn't do it anyway. And so that's why spanking, the typical, oh, I'll just hit you in the diaper when you go by because you did something bad, it's not gonna do anything. So you better not even try to do it. It's like sitting in the chair and crying for 10 minutes. So you really have to find out what makes that person tick, because your child already figured out what makes you tick, and that's why it's pushing your button. So they are very smart, let me tell you, very smart. Kids are amazing.
Yes.
so well. I've been taking some notes.
Good.
I've been taking some notes. So the key points for me are that consequences need to be age appropriate, immediate, consistent, and they have to be balanced with the misbehavior. Like you can't go crazy if something wasn't like really, really bad, and you have to rethink twice if that's really a key matter. And parents, remember not to get in battles that you're not gonna win. That's apparently very important.
Very important.
So, Fer,
Yes.
I can't wait to hear the new recipe from today. Yeah, my mouth is watering. Like I need it right now.
No, it's a simple recipe. I try to bring you everyone very simple recipes, healthy recipes. So this one, the ingredients are like 2 sticks of cinnamon sticks, just 2 of them. A stick of marzipan, raw marzipan. It's so easy to find now in any grocery store or in Walmart. So it's like 150 grams, 3 cups of almond milk. I use almond milk because I like it, and I know some kids have some intolerance to dairies. But if you want to use regular milk, that's perfect. So you don't have to go to the grocery store to buy almond milk to make this recipe. So any milk works perfectly. But I like to use almond milk and sweeten it with vanilla flavor. It's my favorite, but it's just up to you. And 2 teaspoons of corn starch to make the cream a little thick. And optional, if you like a little sweeter, just 2 tablespoons of sugar. But it's just optional. You can taste it, and if you like more sweeter, you can add sugar or not. So the preparation, easy. You just in a pot put your 3 cups of the milk. Keep a little, like the half cup at the end, because we are going to dissolve the cornstarch on this little milk. We keep on the cup. So just put the milk with the 2 cinnamon sticks to heat, start boiling, and start cutting the marzipan in little pieces and put on the milk. Start with your whisk, removing until the marzipan is totally dissolved and disappear with the milk. You have to use medium-low heat. Careful because it's milk and can go over the pot. So medium-low heat is okay. And it's gonna start forming a little foam on the top, and it's fine too. So when the marzipan just is disappear, there is no pieces of marzipan on the milk, just take your cornstarch, dissolve on the milk, and add slowly to the milk, and keep whisking and removing all the time. So when you are stirring, all this foam is gonna start disappear and make like a creamy. It's not a very thick cream. That's the reason we call natilla, because it's not a thick cream. It's creamier. So it's a little thick, but not too much. Just remove, usually it's taking 5-10 minutes to start forming this cream. And that's also switch off the heat, pour all the mix in a bowl, or a beautiful bowl, or whatever you have, and dust with cinnamon, ground cinnamon on the top. Let rest at room temperature for 1-2 hours, and then put on the fridge until you are gonna serve. So the good thing is you can keep on your fridge for 4 or 5 days, and it's tasty. It's not very sweet. It's dairy-free, don't have any eggs. So for kids with some intolerance, I think it's good. And it's a great dessert even if you have guests, or now for Thanksgiving or Christmas. And the kids is really a treat. I love when my kids were smaller, and I call him for dinner to put a little spoon, like dessert spoon, in front of the plate. So when they sit at the table, they know there's something special for dessert, like we have a little spoon, so we have something special for dessert. And it's just to treat them because one asking for forgiveness to another sibling, another brother, or just one put some order on her bedroom, something good, I think it's so important to educate our kids in a positive way and try to make remarkable good things more than bad things all the day, and it's helping a lot with just these little treats. So I hope you like it and you make it. It's really good. It's really good. My kids really love this cream. It's a really good treat. And it's so easy to make it. It's taking like 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes. So I hope you like it.
It's nutritious also. So
Yes.
that's great. Yes, I'll take a note. I'm gonna try this one. I'll send you a picture when I'm done.
Perfect. Please.
Well, thank you both, and thank you everybody for following us. Please give us a like, spread the word. Tell your friends if we have one in Spanish and in English. So we are trying to communicate with everybody here. So please let us know how we are doing. If you have any questions or any suggestions, we are open to suggestions too. So we'll see you next week.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye. See you. Bye, Vero. Bye. Thank you.